case number P as in Paul 21001, requested by William Lamb of K. Havanian Homes. Commissioners, do you have any questions with those consent agenda items, or do you have a chance to look over those? And both of those were in the packet.
Yeah, I looked over them. I don't have any questions. Franklin doesn't.
Thanks, Scott or Leroy.
I'm good.
Okay.
Looks good to me.
All right. And can I have a motion to approve those items?
Franklin, motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda item has been approved. Like to me, we have two items for the new business, and we're going to item C. And this is going to be conduct a public hearing and consider amending Plan Development PD 71R3 to amend the development plan, development regulations, including but not limited to parking and occupancy requirements, to provide for an accessory building for a property generally located at 196 North Interstate 35 East, City of Red Oak, Texas, case number Z21001, requested by Mr. Barry Brewer. The city staff.
Brian, Mr. Chairman, Brian wrote in the comments that he's having technical issues with his volume. So I think they're trying to get that figured out.
Okay, I just saw that. Okay, thank you.
Brian, you may have to X out and come back in. That's what I had to do.
There's Kim.
Hello.
Hey, hi, Kim. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right.
Good evening.
Brian's trying to get his audio squared away. We're just waiting on him.
Said he's still working on it.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
All right, I think we got a workaround for now.
Okay.
Let's see.
And Brian, we was on agenda item C.
Let's see. No. P&Z humor. So John, is it okay if we just go ahead and start? And okay. So Chair, I think we can go ahead and start the meeting, and we just may have to take a pause again to possibly address the audio, but I think we can start.
Actually, I started and we ended up at agenda item C. You want to start over?
Sir, I thought you were kidding. You were serious?
Yes. No,
We
I'm
just,
serious. Yes, you see Scott nodding his head, right?
it was just the consent agenda.
Okay, well, I mean, if y'all have approved that, I mean,
Yeah, we did.
okay, well, it's all been recorded, right, John? You've been recording this whole time?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so we're fine, yeah. Then you may continue.
Yeah, we're on the new business, and I explained the agenda item C, and I'll just give it to you for staff for the
Okay,
new business.
all right, well, let me attempt at sharing my screen. And let's see if I'm able to pull that off. Bear with me here. Share. Add you up. Okay, so hopefully everybody sees what looks like the memo heading.
Right.
Okay. And everyone can hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so you may remember from last month, we've kind of already more or less heard most of this case. The Hampton Event Center owned by Mr. Barry Brewer at 196 North I 35 East. And he's looking to add accessory structure would work as something that is accessory incidental to the main, meaning he's doing special events, primarily weddings. This accessory structure of about 2,000 square feet on site is going to serve as chapel services or something similar where again, it supports the main use. The idea is you're not really adding, you're not running like two separate rental spaces in this situation. That's not what you would be approving. You're just approving that he's able to supplement the main use by this accessory use. Sorry, it was 1,200 square feet. I misspoke. We had talked, I believe, before about the landscaping, the parking, the maximum occupancy. So again, from a planning and zoning perspective, you don't need to put the fire code in the zoning code. That's just not where it belongs. The PD had it regulated at 325, but the design engineer showed a max occupancy possibility of 440. For those who may or may not know, some of that, you're showing the max. When you do that, depending on the layout for the event, it could be less. And speaking with the owner, he's never used all his parking. So if it was a concern about parking, he's never used it all, according to him. Did reach out to Chief Wolf if there had been any complaints about things such as parking or anything else in the area. There had not been, going back about 2 years. And in terms of parking, he's providing still the minimum 150 parking spaces. Should probably skip to the site plan here. But he's providing the 150 parking spaces that the PD requires, still actually 153. So he doesn't have an issue there by providing this building. Again, the building here is on what would be the southern side of the property. This is the main building here. Hopefully you can see my cursor moving around. I'll use the hand, that's a little easier to see. And the dumpster would be relocated to the southeast corner. With that said, what seemed to be the issue was, what should it be, a fence or a wall that runs along the southern end of the property and along the western end, and how it may transition down from an 8-foot height to a 4-foot height. And again, what would this material be? We had, it wasn't required at the time of construction. This is something being initiated by the property owner. He has a concern about some people trespassing from the southern side. So part of it is a security concern for him. The other thing is he's concerned about trying to mitigate some noise coming from the highway. And also it just helps to define his area and his space. So that's kind of, as I understand it from the applicant, that's what he's trying to address by that fence and wall. And y'all had asked to see some examples. So you've seen some of this before. You haven't seen, I think, this render. So this is maybe a good thing to look at here for a second. Again, up here is the main existing building. This wall here exists currently. This structure is what's being proposed. And then, of course, some kind of fencing screening along the southern and western edges is also what's being proposed. And so let me zoom in so these are easier to see. So here. So this is what they call a thin brick. Oh, now I've done it. Sorry. This gray wall is a brick wall. They call it a thin brick wall because the panel in between is basically just one brick thick. It's not thin brick in the sense of the brick you tile on, just for clarity. Then he's also proposed at the 4-foot height and the 8-foot height, but it would need that finished topper, the idea of a wood fence. For staff, I mean, both could be allowed in the regular fencing screening wall code, but this is a PD and y'all do have legislative discretion in what to allow for. It could be viewed either way. I mean, either one is going to require maintenance. It's not that either one's maintenance free. Obviously, brick would cost more than wood. The masonry would likely prevent the noise issue better than wood, especially when the wood is solid, because this is basically what appears to be a shadow box run horizontal. Don't know that I have too much else to say about the fencing screening. Again, just as a reminder, he was approved without it. He's initiating adding that, and y'all do have discretion over what it is, but either option would be consistent with our fencing screening ordinances. And again, this gives you kind of a good render of the 1,200 square foot accessory use. It's a big open area with 2 restrooms, so there's not a kitchen or anything like that with this structure. So with that, I think I'll take any questions y'all may have. Okay, the director's asking me to show you all the architectural elevations again real quick. So there's basically, it's probably hard to see in the black and white, but again, it's the brick. We've got awning, we've got a parapet wall to help hide any HVAC mechanicals from view. We've put in some false windows just to provide more architectural interest, so it's more of a four-sided design building. As we don't know what future construction may occur to the south, that way it just ensures that you're just not looking at a blank wall with a outlet box on it or something. So with that, I'll take any questions y'all may have.
I have a question, Franklin, if I may.
Yeah.
I remember we discussed this one. I remember all the details, but after seeing the rendering, is that accessory building, does staff think it's compatible with the main?
Like architecturally or by use, or what are?
Well, architectural, just the style,
Oh,
the
stuff.
materials.
Well, by this render is probably more basic looking and conceptual compared to the actual elevations. The elevations actually will detail. I don't know if you. It's probably hard to tell. Let me zoom in on one of them here real quick. So, like on the sides here, these
Yes.
bookends, they're kind of like columns that stick out, similar to the main building. And bear with me,
Okay.
I'm probably making y'all motion sick. Let's see. So you see how the main building has these punch outs like that in the middle and on the corner? He's in his actual elevations, that's what he's tried to replicate, that kind of aesthetic. So like these corners are a punch out, they stick out more. The wall in between is actually pushed in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So the actual accessory is brick. And could you go back to the main? Was that stucco?
No, it's brick but painted.
It's brick. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and his render doesn't really show the color. I mean, I think final color he's still kind of considering, but the idea is to match the color palette of the main. And when he comes in for a permit, that's something staff will look at to just make sure it's something on that color palette, doesn't come in being hot pink or something.
Okay. And that's all I had. Because the fence, it was either or, right? But it was prefer
Well-
the brick, but it's up to the applicant.
Well, I mean, y'all have that discretion to recommend. I mean, if there's one of those that works for y'all that you like, you can approve that. If there's something else you have in mind, y'all can discuss that idea and recommend that instead. And we would just make a note on the ordinance to address that as a recommendation to count. Well, I'll back up. So if y'all wanted to approve something different than what we're showing, we would state that in the motion, carry that motion tonight to council. And then if they agreed with you, then we just ask the city attorney to make a note in the ordinance that describes that.
Okay.
So I
And
can hypothetically, if y'all wanted decorative metal or something, we would just write that in later.
but we did mention the height of the fence changing from 6 feet to 8 feet in certain areas by the parking.
Yeah, well, I guess I believe it, I guess we'll have to ask Mr. Burrow. I thought he was proposing 8 feet and then down to 4. And so he happened to have this example. I think this may be from one of his other developments. that shows the four. It doesn't show the transition, but I think one thing we've talked about before was that the transition ought to run at an angle,
Right.
and I don't know that we have to necessarily spell that out by code. I think we can just work that. I mean, maybe the direction to give is, do you want an angle or do you want it to stair step down? And then let staff kind of just, based on your direction, if you want an angle or a stair step down, then staff can work with them on the actual angle or dimensions of it. But maybe just let us know which aesthetic you prefer, an angle or a stair step for the transition. Or if y'all are indifferent, I mean, that's okay too. I mean, you don't feel strongly about either approach.
And this is a public hearing. So individuals that's for this item, would you please speak and give your first and last name and your address, please, so we can have it for our records. Mr. Brewer, I don't know if you're on the line.
I am not seeing him. I don't know if maybe he got confused by the two meetings tonight.
Maybe so.
Let's see. Y'all want to give me a 5-minute recess? See if I can't try to get in touch with him?
Yes, that's fine with me if everybody else is for that.
I have no problem with it.
No, I think that's a good idea. Let him have an opportunity.
Okay, bear with me. I'm gonna mute myself here and try to get in touch with Mr. Brewer.
In the meantime, Kim, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you, Willie. We had a big to-do Zoom thing at work today, a nice luncheon to talk about women and the impact of the business world. So it was really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we need a little more diversity on this council here.
Thank you, Kim.
For bringing the diversity.
You sure are. You sure are.
Okay, just as I had done to Mr. Lindsay, I had sent Mr. Brewer the wrong link. So that was my fault. He's now got the link, so he should be joining us shortly.
Okay, sounds good.
I have
Thanks,
a question I do have a question while we're waiting for him. So on the picture that you had showed of the previous property, it had a green fence, I would call it, around a part of that building. Would that be considered a fence? Kind of, if you scroll back up in your pictures. in his existing property today, which I drive by that all the time because it's on my way if I want to go anywhere north on 35. Yeah, right there around, I guess, the outdoor area. How tall is that existing green fence area? Right. Yeah, right there.
I don't know. We'll have to ask Mr. Brewer.
Okay. I was just kind of wondering if we should consider something that kind of went with that aesthetics as well.
Okay. I believe that's currently a CMU wall, by the way. Painted, but a CMU wall.
Which is what?
Oh, sorry. Concrete masonry unit. So just like those concrete blocks you can buy at the hardware store and make, I've used them to make cheap shelves out of.
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Okay.
those things.
Okay.
Mr.
The
Brewer, are you
current height
connected?
is, yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Brewer. We had opened up the public hearing, so I'll open it up for individuals that's for this item. So you got the floor, sir.
The current height of that fence there, the masonry fence is 8 feet tall. Just to bring her up to date. And that's more of a center block type fence. When you're up close to it, it has more of a commercial look. So I don't know if it's truly pleasing right there on the road, but if you guys have any questions, I can answer any questions. I just popped on just a second ago, so.
Okay.
Mr. Brewer, can you just quickly go over what your plans are? Brian and I kind of spoke for you, but can you just quickly, what you're going to use the building for, and that you're matching the aesthetic to the current building, things like that? Just, a couple sentences. That's all we need.
Yeah, so basically the new structure will be used for ceremony space. The time in which we're living in, we need a separate space for ceremonies. So that space will be used for ceremony space only. We're never, no intentions to hold 2 events at one time.
And the building aesthetic, you're basically trying to match what the main building is?
Yes, so the building exterior paint, stucco, brick would match the original building. So it'll be brick, stucco, and the colors, everything will match the original building. So the structure will match the original.
Thanks.
Well, Mr. Brewer, I guess my question is, I guess the 2 photos you provided to us, you're fine with either or those 2 types of fences?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm fine whatever fence you guys choose.
Okay.
Select. It can be vertical, horizontal, it can be brick. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Is there anyone else for this item? Is anyone against this item? And commissioners, can I have a motion, please, to close the public hearing?
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Approved. I guess commissioners, what do y'all think about the photos that was provided by Mr. Brewer? To me, I like the brick and that color. Actually, I drove by the building this weekend. The building looks great. So
Can I say one thing real quick? Now, these renderings, the fence, it's a wood material, but I'm going to outline it with a wrought iron frame so to give it a better look. Of course, the color would be more of a ebony color, which would be a dark color to match the building aesthetic. So it's not going to stand out like a neighborhood cedar fence, so to speak. It's going to match the building. So we're going to do all we can to make it really blend. I'm not anticipating, by no means, having a cedar color fence. So it will have a dark ebony looking color to match what we have.
Um,
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Go ahead, Will.
staff had recommended, well, not recommended, but they did speak to the noise rating, that the brick will be a better defense against the noise versus the wood.
Right.
Correct, Brian, Ben?
That is correct.
Yeah, and even before that was said, I favorite the brick over the wood, just because I think it gives a better appearance with brick, as well as I think it'll be a for anything that's around it. I just think, if that brick fence abuts my property, I think that brick is a better look for the neighboring properties over there as well as the sound rating.
Sound right. Yeah, I agree with that. That's my opinion. Leroy, did you have an opinion about the fence, or what do you think? Scott?
I like what Willie said. You know, I don't have a problem with the wood fence, but I know Mr. Brewer said something about vertical. That would probably be a better option because I know he's concerned about people traveling through, and the horizontal certainly wouldn't work. So I think people could just climb right over that. But the brick fence looks like something that someone would have a really hard time climbing over. And it would also, as we talked about, be better for the sound. But if it was vertical wood, I'd be fine with that too. But I'm fine either way, honestly. And I apologize for my talking bird. He's barking right now.
I feel very much the same. I believe that the business owner is going to choose what serves him best, what serves him aesthetically. He's got to sell this to his clients. I don't think that he's going to take the cheap way out in order to try to do what he's doing. Otherwise, he would have just left it with no fence at all. You know, I don't have a very strong one way or the other. I do believe that the brick would probably serve him better, but I'm not gonna oppose either. I think both of those look very, very nice.
And the columns the posts will be 4x4 or 6x6 posts. So where you see the post there, it kind of mends with the cedar color. The posts will actually be nice 6x6 posts, which the panels would attach to them. So it would give it still more of the, the masonry look, so to speak. So, I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter one way or the other. I think the appearance that I am looking for if I do the wrought iron, along with the frame of the wrought iron with the columns, it will look very pleasing as well. The brick, it'll work as well. They both cost about the same, which is, so wood is doubled in price, so it'll cost me about the same anyways.
Mr. Brewer, last meeting you spoke about it was 6 feet down to 4 feet, right? Or was it 8 feet down to 4 feet on the fence transition?
8 down to 4.
Okay. And we spoke of a staggering as it descends down to 4?
Correct.
Okay. We were still clear and you're still okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, the fence along the northwest side would go into a wrought iron fence material. So it won't be a brick or a cedar fence or whatnot. It'll go into a wrought iron material that will then give the proper aesthetics around the front. So you'll be able to see right through that. I don't know if Brian have any of those renderings. So it would actually change up a little bit there. So yeah, by utilizing the metal, it would transition quite well.
Well, one thing to make sure we're all on the same page of, the original site plan had talked about the wrought iron, but then we went into this brick and wood option. So staff's understanding was we were no longer pursuing the wrought iron option, that it would be either the brick or the wood transitioning from 8 feet to 4 feet. So if staff is hearing this correctly, you're saying it'd be an 8-foot wood or brick fence that then transitions to a 4-foot wrought iron?
Yeah. See, um, okay, I'm a little caught off guard. Yeah, I don't think I was looking to put a masonry fence around the front portion. I may have missed that part. I tell you, I can take the fence off the front. We can stop the fence right along this back portion. We could just kill that front, the northwest.
The west side of the property?
And yes, well, no, I need the west. I need the southwest going right up into the parking lot. If you go up just a tad bit more where you see the first parking stall there, I can end the fence there and then come back around by the pond to the new structure. Well, it'll go all the way to the end of the property. So that'll kind of box that in. Then I could go across the parking lot and just box that pond area in. I could leave the fence off the northwest and the north property lines where we don't have any fence at all. So I'm not really concerned about the frontage portion. It was mainly the back, just to keep that closed in. I mean, I think it'll look better if we're talking about doing a masonry fence around. Yeah, that'll look pretty rough, a little strong on me. It costs a fortune too. So.
Okay, well, just to make sure we're all on the same page, so hopefully everybody can see what I'm looking at. So, trying to come on, so where I'm drawing this red line, I'm calling the south side.
Right.
Okay. And let me figure. Hopefully it's easier to see. So I'm calling this the south side. So you're saying that this would be the masonry or wood option?
Yes.
And you would go this whole width of the property?
Correct.
Okay. But then on the 35 frontage side, you're saying that is what would be wrought iron?
No, that's what I was, proposing. But I take the masonry all the way up into that first parking spot there. The masonry or wood, to right at that point. Then I can cut across back to the building and I can end it there. If you guys feel that masonry structure be too strong across the entire front.
The issue staff is having is we're trying to make sure we're all on the same page. So I've drawn a red line here showing the southern boundary, which would be what we're discussing, an 8-foot wood or brick fence, right?
Okay, correct.
And then as we go along the frontage road, part of the property, my understanding is then, if y'all can see this line. Come on. You can see this line that we're saying that this also would be the 8-foot
correct
wood or brick fence, correct?
Correct.
And so only after that is where you would do wrought iron.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, trying to on the fly color code because we got like 5 minutes. Okay. Anyways. So, okay, so the red line area is the area that would be the brick or wood fence.
Correct.
Yeah, an 8-foot. Okay. Sorry, just needed to make that clear because I guess it sounded like it was going in a different direction there from what staff thought we were hearing.
Brian, is that possible to transition pretty neat and cleanly, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I would probably, for simplicity, I would probably suggest that, say if this is the brick choice at 8 feet, that somewhere before that point, maybe stair step down to 6 feet for a
Right.
run, and then drop down to your 4 feet with the wrought iron and just let it be that stair step. That would probably be the cleanest, simplest way to do it, in my opinion. An angle could be done, but I think stair stepping it would be easier.
I agree.
Would that be the same for the south? Because they got to tie into that brick wall down there, right?
Well, the southern property line here and coming around, this would all be the 8-foot fence, whether it's made of brick or wood.
Okay.
And then when it gets to this point here at the end is where we would make that transition to the wrought iron.
I don't have an issue with that.
Okay.
We could stop it right, we could end it right there.
Yeah.
'Cause to put a masonry fence, I don't want to turn it into a compound, because that's not what it is. So if we have to end the fence right at that spot there, that'll work for me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we had originally understood.
Okay, well, I agree. I'm happy with that. That'll work. We can kill the rest of it. No more fence. That's it. I'm happy with that.
Okay. All right, commissioners, can I have a motion for this item?
Do we need to do any words or any phrases need to be inserted, or are we okay to?
My suggestion would be, it sounded like y'all were leaning towards maybe brick, so you may want to just say, someone make a motion, for the brick option as shown here by the red line, which is what we already understood. So I guess you don't even need to say that. Just say if you choose the brick option or the wood option, basically. So make a motion to approve the brick option. And if y'all vote for that, then we've got an answer.
Okay. Is everyone on board with the brick, or?
Yes, I'm on board with the brick.
All right, so I motion to approve the brick option.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion has been approved. Agenda item, C has been approved. The next item up here is a staff update, which is agenda item D, topic comprehensive plan update and a new parks and trails master plan.
Yeah, in the interest of time, I'm not going to say too much other than we are actively working on it. And we recently had a stakeholder meeting made up of our boards and P&Z and EDC and all that. And we will be looking at having an online survey to the general public and several more steering committee meetings. And then, of course, eventually it will come around to the zoning, to y'all, the P&Z, as well as city council for final approval. I'll try to give y'all more information in the next memo or not have a meeting right before council. I apologize. I just don't have too much time to be going into it.
No, that's fine.
But if
Thank you.
anyone individually has questions, you can email me or call me. I'd be happy to fill you in that way. If anyone has any concerns or questions.
All right, and can I have a motion to close the meeting?
So move.
Leroy?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mr. Franklin. All right, thank you, everybody. Congratulations, Mr. Brewer. Hope everything works out for you, sir.
Thank you.